This is Equity One, Broadway's happy hour.
Pour yourself a drink and join us as we chat about life, theater, and everything in between.
I'm Elliot Maddox.
And I'm Caleb Dickey. Join us for your Equity One. Boom.
Hi, cheers! Hi, Caleb.
Hi, Elliot. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. We usually chat beforehand, but we haven't had a chance to be hi, how are you today?
I know, we really haven't caught up. And what else is happy hour for?
Exactly.
This is, of course, Broadway Podcast Network Happy Hour. I'm Elliot.
And I'm Caleb.
And we're the hosts of Equity One, Broadway's Happy Hour. Here on Broadway Podcast Network Happy Hour, we sit and chat with some of your favorite podcast hosts from the Broadway Podcast Network and Broadway fancies themselves. Today, we are chatting with two of our friends, Mike Abrams from The Wrong Cat Died and Ruthie Fierberg.
Come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. I'm gonna pop this.
Pop it.
Yeah. I'm the only one without a can today.
Oh. Mine doesn't taste good at all. I'm sorry.
Oh, great. We'll cover the logo.
What is it?
It is a activated ale, watermelon lime.
That sounds weird.
It was a craft beer from Cincinnati.
I ales shouldn't really be flavored. I'm not a beer expert, but that's what my brain is telling me.
I agree with that.
I want to pour some vodka in it, and maybe that might be a little bit better.
Give you a hard seltzer, like it's your mixer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of college when
Go straight to it.
we used to go to our favorite bar in Oklahoma City, Saints, and I would have a Crispin cider with a shot of Fireball in it, and that was my drink. So
that sounds
gross.
amazing.
It's really good.
It was delicious, but beer and liquor just
Mixed together. Most of the time you take the shot of Fireball and then chase it with the beer.
Yeah, but I just went ahead and
this is like a I don't know, let's make up a name for it that's not a car bomb. It's
I used to just call it fire cider.
Fire cider. I like it.
I
cider.
I like Enfuego, yeah.
Enfuego.
It's good. Ruthie, what are you drinking? Is that hard seltzer?
It is hard seltzer, and you should know that it's a very big deal. It's not that I don't drink, but I don't really drink very often. Case in point, these are leftover hard seltzers from my girls' trip that I took in February.
Nice.
And they were still sitting in the fridge. But They're delicious. I'm a big fan of hard seltzer. Discovered it the weekend of Broadway Con, actually. Very late to the ball game, but delicious.
Do you have a favorite brand yet?
I mean, I honestly haven't tried anything else besides Truly.
Okay.
So Truly is the best.
Truly, scrumptious.
I'm preferential to White Claw, which I feel like is the original.
It is. I think that is the original.
Yeah, OG for sure.
Yeah.
Which flavor?
I like the raspberry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you questions like I know. I don't.
I'm having blueberry acai, but I do have a raspberry lime in case we need some backup.
You're boom, boom.
Yes, God. Raspberry, blueberry acai. I love that drink. That's a
yes. Thank you.
Oh, I love this drink.
I was like, why couldn't they say? She was like, I just said blueberry because I didn't want to mess up the second word.
This is a Drag Race deep cut.
I figured.
Yeah, a very deep cut.
For me, though, Elliot, I am so proud of myself, and I just made my brother and sister very proud because in quarantine, I have decided to go back and watch Drag Race from the beginning because I literally new this season. I decided to start watching. I started with episode 2 of this season.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're just discovering an amazing world of
what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time.
Yeah. I love it. I love that drink. Mike, what are you having?
So I have a Yingling Light.
Ooh.
Back in the Midwest, and they started selling these in Indiana about a year and a half ago. It didn't make it across the border, so we used to drive to Cincinnati to buy them. But yeah, so this was what was in the fridge. I'm at my parents' house, who aren't big.
I was gonna say, are you in Indiana right now?
I'm in Indiana right now. Yes.
Oh, whoa.
Hence all the Indiana behind me.
Oh, give us a peek.
So I've got Dr. J, and then I've got a Indiana Pacers locker, which is like from my childhood.
I can't see any of this, but sure.
It's not like in the.
It says my name. It's got a number.
Oh, it's blocked for me where it says live stream.
Oh, damn.
Brittany, can we do that thing where Mike is really big and we're small on the ends so we can see?
Maybe.
That was it, but it was me.
Maybe do I need to talk? Is it work like?
I don't know.
Ooh.
If not, it's no big deal.
Well, I've been watching more Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy at home, so I was going to do the.
Oh my God. Obsessed with watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Like that, we watch them every day. And it's so fun. Like, I think I'm going to watch them normally now. Like,
but they're
whenever I
flipped
can.
in New York. It's Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune in New York, and it's Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy here, which has been very confusing.
Oh, see, yeah, it's been confusing for me too, because here in Kentucky, Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady comes on at 4 p.m., where it's usually part of my morning routine.
Like 11
Yeah. No, 11's
like
Price is Right.
Price is Right slot.
It's usually around 10 o'clock New York time, right after Hot Bench. So it's really disorienting when it comes on at 4 p.m. I'm like, it's morning.
Last time I watched daytime television had to be when I had a fever in high school. I swear to God.
It feels like that. I feel like with all the reruns they're having to do because they can't film new episodes, it feels like I'm just watching the Game Show Network.
Oh my God, it's so
with
funny.
the big bold, this cruise was filmed before the outbreak. It's like got a disclaimer when they give away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But yeah, so I've got my Indiana locker behind me. I've got an Indiana shirt on, a pace. I have all sports stuff. I don't have anything Broadway here at all. So it's all sports related stuff in this house. It's all sports related stuff in this room. But that's also kind of the way my life is in New York anyways. So
yeah.
Is it Indiana the Hoosiers? Did I say that right?
The Hoosiers.
Yeah. I know a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in Cincinnati, right?
I'm in Dayton, so it's still like close. I'm still right there. Yeah.
Dayton's even closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're basically on the Indiana border.
And we go to Indiana to buy fireworks.
Yeah. And we went to Cincinnati and Ohio to buy beer.
Yangling, yeah.
It's a trade-off.
And I'm Kentucky, so we're really serving tri-state realness here.
Yeah, we're covering the Midwest hard.
Oh yeah, hard. And
what
Ruthie,
up, Harlem?
I know, you're our like lifeline back into New York.
You're keeping the New York strong.
I am.
I know.
I am. I like being here. I mean, the 7 p.m. shout out makes my life so happy. And like Harlem was a little slow on the uptake for sure. But like now it's like it like slowly has grown. And now, people are like hanging out their windows. It feels really nice.
Well, Harlem's right beside that hospital. Ellie, what is that hospital? You've been there.
I have.
Columbia?
Mount Sinai on 168 too.
Oh yeah.
That's like Washington Heights. I would call that Harlem.
Yeah.
You guys, right before this, like I like had like a weirdly busy week just with like random stuff going on, but I have been like running around. So I like sprinted downstairs after showering, and I was listening to the Bon Appetit Foodcast while I was getting ready, and they were talking about what cocktails they're making. And they were like, one of my cocktails is a Tom Collins that I'm making because you can like make it different always. So I'm having a Tom Collins.
Hey,
fancy.
Which is
open
gin,
up that restaurant.
Yeah, gin, soda, lemon juice, and a cherry.
Can I tell you a story about a Tom Collins?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Okay, so when I was in college, I went to Barnard, which is one of the 4 undergraduate colleges of Columbia University. And one of the things that they say is like, we were living in New York, and they have all these ways that like you can make money as a student. Like I was a Barnard babysitter, and I also decided because I like didn't have enough going on. And like for me, like most sincerely, I did not have enough going on for me. So I decided to take the Barnard bartending class. You guys, this was the hard. Like I took organic chemistry, and this was the hardest class I ever took. I could not. I was like, who has time to memorize literally, I don't know, like 200 recipes? And you had to take a written test at the end of it and then do a practical where you made a drink for like my teachers who were like seniors who had been in the bartending agency for forever. So I totally cheated on the written test. It's the only test I ever cheated on in my entire life.
Atta girl.
And then they were just like, you know, if you don't know, they had said like part of the thing about being a bartender is just being confident. So they asked me to make a Tom Collins. I have no effing clue what is in this drink. And I'm just like, of course. And I just like grab a highball and just started mixing things together. I have no idea, like literally don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just like talking to them like, how was your day? La, 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 stir, stir, stir. I will get, based on what you just listed as the ingredients of that drink, I now know that 14 years ago, I was very wrong. Got certified. So there you go.
There you go.
Here's my question for you though. Were you only allowed to have jobs that started with a B? Because all of your examples.
Bartender or babysitter.
Babysitter, bartender. What else?
It was just a very, very conveniently named college. What can I say?
Lots of jobs start with B.
Yeah.
Yeah. What has been keeping everyone entertained during quarantine? We basically, everyone has to watch Tiger King to get on the show. So we know that everyone's watched Tiger King. You haven't watched it, Ruthie?
Oh no, Ruthie, you have to leave now.
It's so good. Bye, Ruthie.
I feel like it will really upset me, you guys.
Are you an animal person?
Oh, yes, but I'm also just like not a cruelty person.
Sure.
Like I'm also like not, my type of reality television is like Survivor, hardcore Survivor fan, and then like certain reality shows like Drag Race or like I was a So You Can Dance girl. I am not into like, I have never watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I have never watched a Real Housewives. I do not dig the like catty,
like the following.
Yeah. So like the eccentric, I just like look at it in horror. So like it's not my thing.
It's really a documentary.
It's so good, yeah.
I also like, I am very lucky that like I have my full-time job still at Playbill, so like we're fully working, and then I'm also working on my podcast for the Broadway Podcast Network and like other goodies for BPN. So like, I'm honestly not watching a lot of TV.
That's lovely. I'm honestly jealous.
It's an acceptable answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm also working and doing a little bit on the podcast, but I'm watching a lot of TV still. So I watched it. I watched it in 2 days. I just recently, yesterday, I put out my If the Cast Were Cast Members,
which is so good.
So I thought I put a lot more thought into it than I really wish I would have. But I do have I've thought through which character deserves to be.
Well, that feels on brand for you.
It is, yeah. I mean, it fits. It didn't take a lot of research. It just was a little bit more like, all right, who should be this person? Like, what's their underlying personality traits that fits this character?
Right.
So that was pretty fun. I just finished Ozark season 3, and I'm in the middle of Money Heist, which has been fun. It's pretty.
What's Money Heist?
Money Heist is a Spanish or Portuguese dubbed show about a bank robbery that's got 4 seasons. If you get past the dubbing, which is a little annoying, it's a really
why not just caption it?
So I was told by a lot of people to just watch the English dub because they said it's kind of the way it defaults, and I've heard it's really good. So I've watched it. There's only a few times where they're like yelling at each other, and it's very obvious that it's not accurate. But the storyline's been great. I'm only halfway through. I've watched 2 of them.
Cool.
But I'll watch
that sounds interesting. What is the original? What's the original language?
It's either Spanish or Portuguese.
Gotcha.
That might be fun to watch in the language.
Yeah, I've been Parasite kind of opened up, made me not scared of things that are subtitled or not in the original, not my language. So I have to work a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my list is very long. I mean, I'm weeks behind actually in Survivor. I watched that show, completely unironically, and anyone who watches it understands, but everyone who doesn't watch it thinks I'm an idiot. But that's just the lot in life, friends. It is incredible television.
People love Survivor.
It's so good. So I watched that. I'm still on the Grey's Anatomy train. I caught up on Station 19, which I'm like
it's
embarrassed
way over, right?
that I watched that nonsense, but I do because they keep overlapping with Grey's, and they did it on purpose to trap all us Grey's fans into having to watch the other show.
Yeah, totally.
But I do enjoy watching Oak. Oak is so good on that show, you guys. From Hamilton.
Oh, sure, yes.
Okay. He's a regular and he's so good. So I watch that. I watch All Rise with Lindsay Mendez and Ruthie Ann Miles.
Okay, yes.
In the house. So I watch like a lot of that network nonsense. But then, yes, I went back to the beginning of Drag Race. And I also randomly started watching Cheers from the beginning.
Cheers.
Netflix.
Oh, yes. Is that on Netflix or what's that on?
It's on Netflix. And you guys, I don't understand why Ted Danson is so sexy. Can someone please explain this to me?
It's I don't know. There's something about that era that's just like very hot.
I just like, he's so tall and the smile and I'm like, what is going on? So that's been fun.
Speaking of very hot men, Britt has a picture to put up.
Oh, yeah.
So this is who Mike has as Joe Exotic's cat, which is the Rum Tum Tugger, which is, I think, very appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, seeking fame, super loud, center of the story.
Yeah, they even have the same wig.
I was going to say, I found that interesting that the personality and the look matches. It's like 101 Dalmatians-esque, where like the owners look like their dogs. Like he actually looks like his inner cat.
Yeah,
I got a couple to match the looks.
It's perfect.
But I went more on personality. The other one that was just too perfect was Doc Antle and Old Deuteronomy, which is literally 99 wives.
Yeah,
literally
all of the wives. Yeah, like just insane.
Oh my god.
This week we've been watching like a lot of the same things. Like I've been like watching Sex in the City. We finished Fleabag, which I don't know if I've talked about on here, but it's so good. And I didn't know that it was based on a play. So I've got and I think it's streaming right now somewhere. So I've got to find it.
She's raising money for the NHS in the UK.
Yeah, and the show is just so fun. I haven't laughed that hard at a show in so long. It's so good.
It's also like a binge. Like it's totally hours of a season. Like that's it.
Exactly. It's only 6 episodes each season. I'm like, oh my god, I definitely need more. Like, but is it over? Is it like
it's done? That's it. Yeah.
Oh, wow, I did
she's
not
only doing 2
that.
seasons? I didn't realize that either.
Well, now that they won so many awards, they might do more. But like, I think like the play was that had the 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, they left it in a place where it could go either way, where it could be very much the end or like keep it going. I feel that way about like the United States of Terra. Have you any of you watched that before?
No, but Toni Collette, she's so good.
She's so good, but it very much ends in a place where it's like they could keep going, or it's like a perfect kind of end to that story. Yeah.
I also started rewatching Scrubs because I'm a Scrubs fanatic, and Zach Braff and Donald Faison started a new podcast called Fake Doctors, Real Friends. It's like a rewatch podcast, but it's so good. It is so good. And so now it's making me want to like actually watch the episodes along with them, because they go through like, there are certain things where they'll be like timestamp at whatever. And I'm like, I mean, I generally remember what this episode is about, but man, timestamps.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
You know, Fake Doctors, Real Friends was one of the titles Caleb and I considered for our podcast.
Obviously.
Yeah. But Equity won out.
Yeah. Wait, I don't even know how you two, and like obviously your fans know, but how you two know each other.
Our adoring public.
Yes.
We long story short, we met doing dance competitions in high school, and then we're college roommates and have been best friends ever since. So that's like
I love it.
10 years plus
Over
now.
a decade.
Yeah.
Over a decade.
Yeah,
That's
it's a long time. Yeah.
I love that.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quick-
there's a
Yes.
shorter. I heard
Quick
Caleb's
and
short
dirty.
version on the last happy hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sped through it. We're like,
Yeah.
we'll get the highlights.
Yeah,
So.
we're getting speedier. We're like, this is out. We have to go through the whole thing every time, but it's fun. I love this is like really, really been a fun thing to do. It's just like sit with all of you. Because for those of you who aren't on the inside of the Broadway Podcast Network, we do meet quite often and spend time with the other podcasters for meetings and other like little happy hours. But this is really fun to like one-on-one get to sit and
So fun.
have a good time.
I feel like I'm like the most active BPN podcaster whose podcast isn't live yet.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere with doing like the videos with you, like when Elliot, you and I bonded and like did the video with you, Caleb, at Broadway Con, and I'm like filling in the calendar and doing all this stuff, and it's like one day the podcast will be live.
Do you have a title yet? What's your title going to be?
Oh yeah, it's called Why We Theater.
Oh, I love that.
And because the idea is like, I like using theater as a verb because I think like to theater is like to engage with the art on stage. And then why we theater is because I think to enact change in the world, because I believe that stories are the one thing that can make change. So it's like why we theater, because we're agents of change as artists.
Amen.
Work.
Yeah.
I cannot wait
Wow,
to
what a pitch.
hear it.
I know, right? You're like, I'm sold.
I know.
We recorded the
Deep
thing that's
tea.
hard is like my podcast are panels. And I'm getting people from like far outside of the theatrical world who are like experts in these issues to help us say like, this is how we change this. So it's a lot of research and a lot of scheduling and all that, but we're recording episode 3 on Tuesday. So and we'll be ready to launch soon.
That's so exciting.
Gotta bank them a little bit, you know?
Oh, yes, you do. Caleb and I learned that the hard way.
Thank them.
We still haven't learned our lesson. We still don't bank things. We just kind of go, we try.
I mean, you guys are killing. Look, we're in happy hour.
I was saying to my boyfriend today, I was like, the happy hours are like my favorite podcasts I've ever done, just because like I feel like it's so low stress, even though there's like more to it. Like it's like literally just sitting and being like, bah, 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 bah. It's really fun. Yeah.
I like this too, because you all can educate me, because I go to these other BPN events and everyone's like, oh yeah, and this and that, and I'm like, I've never even heard of that. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm so lost at these events because I don't know very much about the industry or the history or anything else. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly just like, everyone I'm like hitting out and be like, should I know who that is? Am I supposed to know who that is? Are they famous? Is it important?
Yeah, but I love that you're a part of it, because it's also like, I mean, like looking at like the Pacers in the background and your shirt and then like saying like my life is sports, but I also just really love cats and musicals sometimes. Like I'm like, yes, I hate this idea of like sports and
it's
theater
like
being like that. I'm like, no, you can actually like, because I really love sports too. I mean, Broadway's my thing, but like.
So I look at it as very similar. And the fact that like what I like about both of them is that you're watching the elite at their profession doing it live.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm a fan of. Like you go to a basketball game, you're watching some of the most insane athletes in the world do these feats that you can only like. I've never dunked. Like I'm not very close to dunking. And then it's the same thing. Like I watch these people sing and dance. I'm like, I can't even fathom doing that. And so you're watching the best of the best, especially once you're in New York.
Yeah. That's how people feel watching this Broadway Podcast Network happy hour.
Yeah.
Watching the best podcasters in the world.
Exactly.
Sit and talk. Well, let's kind of start our interview. I mean, I think that's kind of a perfect segue into being like fans of theater. We always ask our guests what first got them interested in the arts, what first kind of caught them as a young person. So, Mike, let's start with you.
Sure. So again, I grew up in a sports household, like a lot. My dad does some work with the Pacers, hence all the stuff. But my mom's a music teacher. And so that is, she teaches piano. She's always taught piano. There's like 3 or 4 pianos in his house. And so that's been like, we went to theater when it came to Indiana. The 5 shows that come to Indiana every year, we went, and it was usually who went with her. So I was trying to think of what the first show I saw was, and I have no idea. I think it was Joseph, honestly, but I was like super young.
We love Joseph.
And so I've
the Andrew Lloyd Webber string connected.
And so that was kind of, I've always been interested. And then we went, when we used to go visit New York, we would go. So again, same thing. Like I just appreciate watching people do stuff that I can't think of. And then when you add in, like, I loved Jersey Boys, I loved Book of Mormon, stuff where it's like, okay, I love that music, or the South Park humor is like so clever that I'm a big fan of that. Like that is where it's pieced together some stuff. So when I moved to New York, I realized how easy it was to go on like a random Tuesday just after work. I started going more often, and that's what kind of got me interested.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's so great.
Every part of that.
Yeah. What was like when you were seeing shows when you were younger? Like, let's say you love Jersey Boys, you love like Book of Mormon. What was something when you were younger that you were like, oh, okay, like this is fun seeing this with mom?
I don't remember. Most of the time with everything, I'm just like, did I walk out entertained? Like I don't have a high bar for anything I watch, like hence type of thing. But like I just want to be entertained. I love sitcoms. I like very simple things. So a lot of the stuff I've seen, it's like, oh, that was good. Like that was like they tied it up nicely. A great show, great singing, great dancing. So that was always, again, like the part that hooked me. I wouldn't say there's any like the shows that stood out. Like Lion King obviously stood out when we saw that because of just how like mesmerizing everything is. But yeah, I mean, I would just go to pretty much anything. I've like never thought, oh, this was so bad, I gotta leave. Like even if it's something that's not totally for me, you walk out an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and you still saw somebody doing something pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, there's always something to take from those things. I always like when I see stuff, I try and always like just like learn something. Like, what did I learn from seeing that? Like, did I like it? Like, what did I not? What didn't I like it? Maybe that's what I learned about myself. What didn't I like? What did I appreciate? It's a good barometer.
Now my rule, because of Cats and a couple others, is that I like to at least have a general idea of what I'm going to see before I go. I did not do that early on. I don't remember the names of the ones. I saw the one with Jeff Daniels and Michelle Williams, where Blackbird. Yeah, didn't know what that was about. That was intense. Yeah, thought Fun Home's a misleading name.
It is.
Yes.
A couple things where I was just like, I won lottery tickets, or I went, and then I'm like in there going, like, I'm sitting in the theater about 5 minutes before it starts on my phone being like, what's this about? So now I try to at least have an idea before I go, because Cats was the most extreme version of that.
When was the first time you saw Cats? When you were younger, or the most recent revival?
No, I've not. I saw the most recent revival. I saw the second to last preview. The story is a friend of mine from college. She works on Broadway sets. And so I was saying like, hey, I got to see these classics. Like I still haven't seen half of them. So this maybe Cats ruined it for me. But I was like, I've never seen Phantom. I'd never seen.
I was just going to say, I have a feeling you haven't seen Phantom and you need to.
Yeah, I haven't seen like most of these. And so the second to last preview was a Saturday matinee. And she's like, I have tickets. And then she got super sick and told me that like 30 minutes before. So I went and sat there by myself. I had no idea what it was. I had not drank before. I had not had any substances of any kind. It was a Saturday, and all I knew was Leona Lewis was in it. That was it.
Oh my God, hilarious.
Yeah.
And so I walked out, and I was like head scratching, confused. And at the time I'd moved to New York for work kind of on a whim. Like it was, I got recruited, took the job, and just left very quickly. So there's a lot of people that the stuff that New Yorkers accept as normal parts of life are not normal. And when you're new, coming from Indiana in the suburbs, if you're observant, you're going to realize like, we shouldn't just be okay with this, or like, we shouldn't just accept this.
Wait, like what? Like what?
Like Cats, Ruthie. No, I'm just kidding.
There's a lot of like, I think some of it's very mental health related, but like there's a lot of like homeless people using the restroom, not in a corner, just on the subway, or you just see people yelling and screaming. I saw one of the cart guys just pull his knife towards somebody and like as a threatening way. And then they like shook hands and hugged after they finished their argument. But it was like, you just don't, that's just not normal life. So anyways, I was giving people feedback from Indiana through like a newsletter blog style thing of like, here's what I'm noticing. Here's the crazy stuff I'm seeing. Here's what Sleep No More is about. You're not going to believe this.
No,
so
that was a big surprise.
I just paused my normal updates of like, here's what's happening in life and just wrote about cats. And so I have it somewhere. I'll find it and send an email to all of you.
Oh my God.
It does exist somewhere. But it was like, I got known as like I had very strong opinions about the musical, which was not true. I just thought it was a very fun subject to write, which is what my podcast is about. It's just a very fun, it's a good thing to be able to use for parody. And so when the trailer came out, I got about 25 text messages with links to it because it's like I'm the person from Indiana that knows cats. And so I was joking around with Alan, and I made a fake welcome to my TED Talk, and my welcome to my TED Talk note was Grisabella's the wrong cat to die. Welcome to my TED Talk. And it was me standing in front of about 300 people getting ready to do an actual presentation, not a cats related presentation. And that became the vehicle for my podcast.
I love it so much. I love it. But
I've seen it twice. Like I saw it with Leona Lewis, and then I saw Mamie do it. I saw it later with another friend almost exactly a year later. And that's it. I've literally never seen any other productions. I've watched the video. I watched the clips on YouTube, but I still, you could name people from the original, like actual actors and actresses, and I'll be like, who? Like, I don't know. I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Terrence Mann is.
I've learned a couple. Like I'm starting to figure out some of it. But like I know, like where I really know this story is my version of how this story works. And so I have theories that I don't think are real, like have never been thought through, are things that if you tie a couple rumors on like this cat might be related to this cat and might be sleeping with this cat, and then you piece that together with what you do know about the story, it becomes very interesting to think about. And that's the only thing I really focus on.
We love it. And we're going to get more to cats related conspiracy once we hear about young Ruthie and what made her the theater expert she is today.
So I grew up in West Hartford, Connecticut. I'm the eldest of 3 children, and we all kind of ended up loving theater, doing theater. My brother is an actor. It's like the connection between me and Elliot and me and Caleb outside of BPN. But I think part of the reason we were a theater family. My mother was a singer, semi-professional. She didn't discover singing in theater until like she was in college. But then she became kind of obsessed, and she had us young, and she did community theater. The joke is she was pregnant with each of us while she did a different community theater show. So I was the fiddler baby, and my brother was the 42nd Street baby, which is like the Makes joke. Yes, exactly. But like truly, like my mom tells the story of like how the dancers used to like scream into her stomach, like, "You're gonna be a dancer, you're gonna be a dancer," and like my brother's a dancer. And then my sister was the chorus line baby. But like, there's a video of me like at the age of 2 in a diaper, just screaming, "God, I hope I get it," on the top of my lungs. I think, like my mom was a singer. My dad was a fan. My dad loves the Phantom of the Opera. That's his favorite show of all time. And the music of the night is his favorite song ever. And so we were just in a household that like had a stereo and like big speakers, like not boombox, like big speakers, and like just played that music all the time. A Chorus Line and Phantom and Les Mis and Miss Saigon and all those 80s shows. The British Invasion was strong in our household, I guess. And I think too, like my mom, because she discovered all of this later in life, she was like, well, I want my kids to know it like immediately. And she was never, she never took dance lessons or singing lessons. And and she took voice lessons again in college, but she never took dance lessons. And every time she tried out for a community theater musical, like she would sing great and she would act great, but she couldn't dance, and she like wouldn't get whatever part, and she'd be pissed. So she was like, I will not allow this to happen to my children. So she put me immediately in dance class. So I started ballet when I was 2. And, like added in tap when I was 5, and like the whole, that whole trajectory. And I danced all the way through college. I was a dance minor at Barnard, but like, then I started doing the JCC musicals when I was like probably like 8 years old. I did Annie. I was Pepper, the bitchy orphan, obviously. And funny story, Mike, the first musical I ever saw was Cats. We had just like
children seeing this.
Well, so you had like, I don't know the name of your theater in Indiana.
Clues or the Murat. Okay. They're in.
So we had the Bushnell Center for the Performing Arts in Hartford, Connecticut, where all the national tours came through. And my parents took me when I was 2 to see Cats.
Oh,
and,
no.
and I just like sat like mesmerized, I guess. I have no memory of it. And then when my brother was 2, they took both of us to Phantom when it came through. And then, imagine my surprise when Cats came back again when I was probably like 12 and saw it and was like, this is terrible. Why? How do I reconcile my existence that I love theater and the first show I ever saw was this very bad musical? I have come back around to like, there are absolutely like things I love about Cats, and I understand its place in the canon, but like long rambling story short, because that's what happens when I drink. Is that like, I just grew up singing and dancing and doing the musicals at the JCC. And then like, I was on the dance team in high school, and my high school didn't do musicals. We did a jazz show, but we were the venue for the musicals for high schoolers and college students around the state of Connecticut. And I did that for 7 summers. Until I finally, I was a featured dancer until I finally had the lead in 42nd Street. I was Peggy Sawyer after my sophomore year of college. And that's when I hung up my hat a little and like I said, continued dancing at Barnard, but never had professional ambitions for it. And then just got really lucky that I became a journalist, and I was in magazines and stuff before I worked for a lot of people at Playbill and a lot of people in theater journalism in general, tried to do the thing. And then we're like, okay, I'm sick of auditioning, pivot. That was not me. I was a journalist who loved theater and ended up getting to Playbill and now to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Was it the Barnard Ballet?
I was going to make a Barnard Ballet joke. Hey, high five.
There was a really intense Barnard Ballet collective, which true story. I don't know if you guys know Justin Peck, who choreographed the Carousel Revival and is the resident choreographer of New York City Ballet. He was my best guy friend in college. We met freshman year because he was in the corps of New York City Ballet, and he was in one of the other undergraduate schools is called the School of General Studies, which is all these part-time students of whether you're in the ballet or whether you went to the military and then came back to school, or there are a whole bunch of reasons you can be in GS. And Justin was literally in New York City Ballet in the corps and was well, the only class I can take before I have to be at rehearsal and warm up is 9 a.m. bio. And I thought I was going to be pre-med. So I was in 9 a.m. bio, and he was the only guy in a sea of 100 women at Barnard. And we ended up going to the same study session one day and ended up in the elevator together. And he was like, do you know what the hell is going on over there? I don't know. Maybe we should study together. And then that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, as they say. So yes, Barnard Ballet for real existed.
Yeah. Big fans of Justin Peck here.
Carousel is another one where I didn't know going in how the story, which was
but I'm
intensifies.
So jealous. I'm jealous when you say that you went to theater not knowing what it was about. Those are my favorite. those experiences are so few and far between for me now because we do so much pre-show coverage of like press days and interviews, and it's like my job to know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like to get to go to a show and not have any idea of what's going to happen is such a luxury. I like am a little bit jealous. Although I do understand what you're saying of like fun home sounds fun, not so fun.
Short for funeral. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that very quickly.
I think that is a luxury too. Like, and I try to do that as an audience member. Like, I try to not, I grew up a big Broadway fan, like buying every cast recording as soon as it came out to like listen and like know what's happening. But now that I can like see things, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try and I'm not going to watch the press day. I'm not going to watch their performance on GMA or whatever until I can see the show so that I have a little surprise. Yeah.
And then afterwards I listen to it on repeat. There's like a couple songs I love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing is like, I definitely grew up, like, I know nothing about real like mainstream music because I grew up listening to, I grew up listening to cast albums exclusively.
Yeah.
Like that and the Spice Girls, like that was it.
When's that musical coming out?
Oh my God. Could you spice up your life? They made
the movie.
Alan Cummings was in it.
That movie is rich.
Aces. But
I kind of can't watch it because it's not what you think it is anymore. When I rewatch it, I'm kind of sad when I rewatch it for me. The aliens are so funny in it.
That was why I went to see Chicago, was because Mel B was in it with a version.
Oh. But yeah, like I just listened to cast albums and we listened to cast albums in the car and now I don't have a car to like sit and sing and belt. And so like I don't listen to anything anymore, really. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a strange, like there was before New York and after.
Yeah, now I like listen to, I have started listening to like, I love a woman of pop. I love like a Taylor and Ariana.
I was gonna say, you love a Demi.
I love a Demi.
I love Demi.
So I have started doing that more, but also I just like listen to podcasts constantly on the train, like, and at the gym. I'm always listening to podcasts.
I'm a reader. I'm a subway reader.
I'm a reader as well. I'm a Sudoku-er.
Not a reader.
On the subway. I can't read on the subway.
I ain't never been a reader, never will be a reader. Never. I'm over it. I don't like it.
That's what I've been doing in quarantine. I've been reading.
Public school ruined me. It made me hate reading. What have you been reading?
I finished this amazing book called The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, who wrote The Night Circus, which I actually did not read The Night Circus, but a lot of people love that book.
An interesting book. Yeah.
The Starless Sea.
I love The Night Circus.
Okay, so The Starless Sea is amazing. It took me a lot longer than most books to like get into it. Like usually if I don't get into a book by like page 40 or 50, I'm like, But I stuck it through because people said she's amazing. And that's the thing, like she just creates these worlds that are so bizarre and like just don't abide by the real rules of the world. But like you have to get used to that. But it was incredible and the kind of book that like almost like theater where like you could read it again and again and find new things and appreciate something different every time. So I read that. I just got my book of the month delivered, so I'm excited to get into that. But then I also started reading like my way of having some theater right now is that I have all the making of books that they send me, like the Grimmery essentially. But like so I have Waving Through a Window for Dear Evan Hansen, and I have
you read the Spider-Man one?
No, but so I started reading the Dear Evan Hansen one, and I just like gosh, reading like Stephen Levinson's liner notes essentially like makes me so happy. Yeah,
it's really fun.
Brilliant.
I have the I notoriously have like all things published about Spring Awakening. So I have the like Purple Summer booklet that has.
Oh my God, what I wouldn't do for that.
Yeah, it's probably available on Amazon.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that was my formative musical.
Same.
Absolutely.
Mike, what have you been reading?
So I read all across the board. I just finished Little Fires Everywhere because I wanted to see it before I watched.
This series is so good.
Haven't done the series yet, but
I haven't done the series either. That book is incredible.
But I'm very on brand right now. I'm reading a book called Black Noon about the it's a Indy 500 race in the 60s. So that's been very, very interesting to read kind of the history of the track and that type of fun stuff. Because I've been to almost every race since I was.
Do you read more fiction or more nonfiction?
I switch back and forth. I try to switch back and forth between the two, between like books that might help my work versus just mindless nonfiction. So I'm pretty.
I read like my first nonfiction. I read Say Nothing, which was on like a bazillion million best books of the year and the decade. It's about the Irish Troubles, which ever since seeing The Ferryman on Broadway, which I saw 3 times.
That's like 10 hours of your life.
That is 10 hours of my life, and I would go see it again if I could tomorrow.
So good,
I'm obsessed with that show. It's my favorite play ever written that I have seen. And but I got so obsessed with the Irish Troubles. I am so fascinated by them, and that's what Say Nothing is all about. The raw, and it's really good. I highly recommend.
Caleb, what are you reading?
Right now, I'm doing some research on the Gilded Age and the Astors. So I'm just kind of like, it's like history, and it's kind of tricky to read. So I'm like, it's taking me a second to read it, but I really love like all the ins and outs of social, the networking in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm a nerd.
I have a copy of Ross Matthews' new book where it's called Name Drop, which is like celebrity gossip. So I'll probably read that at some point. Love Ross Matthews. He has like recipes in it with each chapter, so I'll probably make the recipes. I'll read it.
Love.
Yeah. Great. So so Mike, your podcast is all about your thesis is that Grisabella is the wrong cat to have died.
Correct. And
you explore why other cats should have died. Now, have you made a public stance about which team you are?
No, I've ranked them at the end of every episode. And then the fun fact about doing this is that I started and I again knew very little. And if you go to the fan fiction page on cats, there's a fan Wikipedia page. There's 4,600 pages that are there to dig through if you really want to get deep. So I have learned more as I've gone. So the earlier episodes are like, here's just some fun facts. And then as like I got there, I'm like, oh, if I tie that fun fact to that fun fact, that gets real interesting. So I have the ranking I've done by the episodes. I think the one I underrated, which is like who's probably the most worthy, is Gus.
I'm Team Gus. Always have been, always will be. The only reason I feel a little bit better about I had him as I'm rating everybody out of 9 cats. So I rated him out of 7 out of 9 cats. That's high.
Yeah. And the reason I feel a little bit better about it is that Christopher Gurr, who played Gus in the revival, when I interviewed him, he did not think that Gus had another life to live. So he didn't think he was eligible. So that's
fascinating.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting.
That's an interesting thing. Like, oh my God, like I've never done cats. So like, that's such a good actor too, is like, which life is this cat on? Like,
I also wonder if like, does Sir Ian McKellen agree?
It's a good question.
He was
the other question is
the best part of the movie.
Is Old Deuteronomy even eligible? Because he's technically the judge.
Also, it pissed me off. Watching the movie has really is really brought my like. Yes,
I've watched it once. It's on my list to rewatch again here now in quarantine, but I'm not sure I want to. I did an episode with.
I have to see it. I still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Oh my God, Ruthie, it is wild.
A few more seltzers.
You have to. Open your seltzer now and go for it.
It's wild.
It has some pros and cons. It has some really well done, and then there's some stuff that's like cringeworthy.
I thought that Ian McKellen was perfect. That scene was perfect, and everything else is not to be missed. Ruthie, you must.
I've heard and I know, and like, I mean, I guess now is the time. It was always just like, the time.
But what I was saying about the movie is about Deuteronomy, is that why do some of the cats do their pitch before Deuteronomy is even there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. The other
thing about Deuteronomy I don't get
is that in the age of today, he sits on stage during intermission and like come up and take selfies with him and everything. And like that to me is crazy, just to be able to do that, like to give up your intermission and sit there on stage. I was so confused the first time I saw him. Like, is he supposed to be there? Does it mean we're like, is it intermission? Are we allowed to talk? Like, are we allowed to? I had no idea what was happening.
It's so crazy. Like,
but my ranking, what I would love to see is, I think Tugger and Mistopheles together should ascend to the Heaviside Layer. Like,
I mean, they're the best two cats. Like, that's it.
That's those got the highest ratings for me. Oh,
in one episode, you said that they're lovers, maybe, yes?
So there's a lot of, I call it Tugstopheles, but I've heard it's Tugopheles. I've read different versions, but yeah, there's a lot of theories that they are together. And there's a lot of really, really dark fan fiction about them being together.
I mean, the best part about the fan fiction like this is that, like, no one can be right, because that's just not how the show was written. Like, they're written as like, so you can just spin off into like literally anything you want to say in terms of fan fiction, because like
exactly there is no backstory about them. Like a lot of them are just barely named in the poem. And then so yeah, it's pretty wild. I think I read some fan fiction in the Mistopheles episode it was 15, like it was so much that it was like just trying to find one that I thought would be humorous to read was like dark. It was a very dark day trying to skim through them, because this one was 15 chapters. It was like 30,000 words.
Oh my God.
I was just looking for some like, Twilight-esque love story written like.
I mean, let me tell you, if you can't be the best musical on the planet, be the most polarizing musical.
Yeah, be the most memeable. Yeah.
Just be the most commentable. Like,
it's America's Got Talent for murder. That's the way, like, it's the only way I can describe the show.
Yeah, that's right.
So like the winner doesn't get $100,000 in a show in Vegas, but they get killed.
They get to die
and get a new life.
That's questionable.
In the movie, it was questionable. They just sent her up in a chandelier, and I was like, "What?"
They send up in the original. They send her up in a tire swing,
Yeah.
Then the idea.
Did you see that episode of Stars in the House where Betty Buckley was like, "Here is a piece of the Heaviside Layer."
Yeah.
You guys, not to brag, but I've been to the Heaviside Layer, so because the Heaviside Layer is at the Winter Garden Theater, and in Leslie Kritzer's video blog, I played a cat who was residing in the Heaviside Layer and haunting the Winter Garden. So that's really worthy content.
I did see that. It was fantastic.
It was great.
But going up there is crazy. Like, it's really weird. There's a lot of cats. They're dead.
There's a lot of cats. I could feel the spirits of the bodies.
It's just one cat. It's just one cat die over and over every night.
I know, but like,
but that was a lot of performances. There are thousands of
over the years. Now, Mike, am I to understand that did you bring a game to share?
Did I bring a game to share?
Am I wrong?
The top ones.
Oh, I mean, I think we were gonna rank them, but
let's do it.
I think what might be more interesting is, can I tell you my wildest theories?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a conspiracy theory.
How knowledgeable are you about the different characters?
I know kind of like who they are and what songs they sing.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two. My newest favorite is I just came up with for my Peter episode. I did an episode about Peter that's coming out soon. I don't know when. Peter is the worst cat. I have him ranked worst, but I have some ideas of where Peter could be in the story, since he's not really part of the story. He's just in the opening number.
Mm-hmm.
So here are my two.
He's like the cut from a chorus line. He's like,
like headband boy.
Yeah.
So his point is they need an extra dancer in the opening number, and Peter is named in the naming of the cats. That's it. There's no more story there. There's actually, of the 4,600 pages, there's not one for Peter, which really, really blew my mind, because I found some very, very like obscure things, and I'm like, this has a page, but Peter doesn't.
Wow.
But here are my two. So one is, there is rumors about Bustopher Jones and Grisabella being like best friends growing up. And then he leaves the tribe or is not in the tribe, and Grisabella is like exiled from the tribe. There's also stories that Joey Loram and Grisabella were really good friends growing up. And then when you start researching Bustopher Jones might have slept with Joey Loram. They might be mates. And then the last part of that is Joey Loram gives up her chance to sing and perform to Grisabella. So my take is that it was a weird love triangle where they were best friends. Joey Loram sleeps with her best friend growing up, and her apology is to give up her chance to perform.
I love that. I love the poetry of that.
So that's one of my theories.
I think that all really scans, like, because Grisabella, formerly a glamour cat, right? Mm-hmm. Bustopher Jones has maintained
potentially.
Yeah, he's maintained his glamour, right? So like they could have definitely run in the same circles.
Yeah, he goes to strip clubs. It's in his lyrics, which again, Ruthie, is why you shouldn't have gone as a child.
That was my first Broadway show too.
So, honestly, but I feel like it's, that kind of thing, and like Disney movies even, where I'm like, this is made for adults,
it's
right?
Totally like, over the head.
It's just like, over the head. Where you get in trouble is like age like 11, 12, where like you're kind of understanding it enough to ask a question.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming. The whole Tugger song is a question.
Yeah.
For any teenager.
Yeah. But that theory really scans.
Yeah, and my question is like, did Andrew Lloyd Webber think about these things, or is it just me?
I don't think he did.
Okay. I don't think he did either.
He's not responding to my DMs where I'm asking you questions.
I bet you Trevor Nunn thought about it.
He's not responding. I've yet to get in touch with either of them. I've tried.
Trying.
Well, Mike, you and I should parlay outside of this. I might be able to help you.
Yeah. Yes. Do you think I have way more theories than just that one? My other one that I think is interesting to think about is there's a fight scene between McCavity and Monkish Trap. Mm-hmm. And there's also some like background noise of McCavity and Demeter in an abusive relationship.
Yes.
And then there also might be that Monkish Trap. Who is it? It is Victoria is Monkish Trap's daughter between Monkish Trap and Demeter. So
Victoria is that much younger than Demeter?
Them participate in her Jellicle ball.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a lot of awkward parts of this movie if you really think about it. But then my question would be, so like if there's the McCavity Monk fight scene, is it because they both are with Demeter and it's a fight over her and not to try to defend old Deuteronomy? That's my other question. It does line up.
What I really liked about oh my God, we have Team Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser. Well, this is
I love the twins.
This is a great segue actually, because what I loved about the movie is like the like making clear who like the villains are, like maybe the like more bad cats. Like I really liked that because like in the show that everyone kind of muddles together, but in the movie it's very clear who are the troublemakers.
Yeah, it's McCavity.
Yeah.
He's committed every human crime.
Well, yeah, but Mungo, Jerry, and Rumble Teaser are very clearly troublemakers as well. Yes, like exactly. They're a heist operation.
Which I liked in the movie was very like they were very much part of the villain story.
When I saw it the first time, that was a song stuck in my head at the end. So they got a very high ranking for me.
I love them.
Yeah. And how did you feel about the different version in the movie?
I didn't mind it as much because I've seen it's more British version of it. So I kind of read and knew that was coming. Yeah. I didn't like that they changed the version of the song. Like to me, that's one of the most entertaining songs.
Thumbs down for me. Yeah.
I have a question. So this is your sister. Did you see, if you saw it together, did you try to do the double cartwheel growing up?
No.
So my sister was commenting under my brother's name. I don't think my sister is obsessed with the VHS, like basically wore it out.
Yeah.
She loves cats.
Love the effects.
Did we try to do we never tried to do the double cartwheel together, but she and my brother are both in Connecticut at our parents' house in quarantine. So like, who knows, maybe they want to try that together and put it on TikTok. Let's
see it. Let's see it.
They're experimenting with TikTok lately.
I would love
There are some excellent Legally Blonde the musical things happening.
The reunion coming up next week on the Broadway Podcast Network Town Hall.
It's gonna be big.
Wednesday at like 9, I think. That's going to be really legendary. Great. I think we're going to move forward to one of our new segments, which is Caleb's Blonde Girl from Ohio tips for quarantine. So can we roll that video, Britt?
Hit it, Britt.
Maybe I'd better go O-H-I-O. Maybe I'd better go home.
Isn't that adorable?
Hey, I did that show.
Love Wonderful Town.
Love it.
Love Wonderful Town.
It made me so happy.
It's from Wonderful Town, the musical.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't even know what you're talking about.
Caleb, what do you got for us this week?
Okay, so I'm going to be posting on my Instagram an open forum, and you post a question, and I'll give some feedback. So that's what we're doing.
Advice column.
So my cousin Lindsay, who lives in Brooklyn, is also from Ohio, but she lives in Brooklyn now. And she said, I just have a question. Do you think the best water is hose water? And I think this is a big debate because I love New York water. New York water is so refreshing. You're like on the Upper West Side. You got brunch, and you're like, all I want is a tall glass of water. But I think if you didn't grow up drinking from the hose, you really missed out.
Okay.
I mean, I drink from the hose in Connecticut, but I still think New York water is better.
I think New York water is better.
Talking about Ohio, though. Ohio, your water sucks.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I love Ohio with a very real, like deep love. I have many friends from Ohio, and I've been to Columbus. Like, I used to go every year because I had like 5 friends from there, and it was better for me to go there than for 5 people to try and come here and like stay where. And I would come back from every weekend away dehydrated because the water I just like couldn't drink.
You just couldn't.
That's a valid point. I think there's different types of hose water. The worst is right from the get-go because it's kind of warm when it comes out, and it's kind of because the sun has been heating it up. You know that feeling. But I love we used to, this is maybe taken too far. We used to stick the hose in our mouth and we like turn it on, and you hold as much water as you can in your mouth before it explodes. That's great hose water. But
that's also the beginning of the hose water.
But this is after you'd played around with it for a while.
Oh, okay.
But I think, no, hose water is necessary, but New York water is the best water. So that's my review, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That's Caleb's Blonde Girl moment of the week. Make sure to DM him your questions. What do you need reviews for? What do you need tips for surviving quarantine? You can message him at Caleb Dickey. His handle is right there. It's gonna be time for Merch Madness. Can you hit that vid, Britt? You know that song, Mike.
That one hurts.
I felt it too.
Yesterday, actually, I think it's tonight. It was supposed to be the NBA playoffs first night. And, so we get the Jordan documentary tomorrow. That's what all the sports fans are waiting for.
That's of course the NCAA March Madness.
Okay, March Madness.
Yeah.
Connecticut, like UConn, it's sad for us, you know.
Yeah. I'm from UK. We're big basketball.
Yeah.
So, in honor of The Wrong Cat Died, and it actually is very appropriate because we brought this up earlier, we have a special Andrew Lloyd Webber edition of Merch Madness.
Ooh.
Starting off with one of my favorite shirts. This is my Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat shirt. This is from some national tour production, I think, that I bought this from. But it's a classic, like, 90s tie-dye.
They, like, legit tie-dyed that.
Yeah.
This is, like, amazing. And maybe it's not from any production. Maybe it's, like, from, I don't know. I have no idea where I got it, but I'm obsessed with it. Tie-dye love. It's the classic, the iconic logo. And this is a shirt I wear very often. This is a staple for me. One of those things where, like, you went away to college. I came back from New York to, like, clean out some stuff in my house, found this in a box somewhere, and I was like, how have I lived without this for so long? So that's my Joseph shirt. And then I have a newer Andrew Lloyd Webber offering. This is a shirt from the School of Rock. This is a shirt. This is the shirt that Dewey wears in the beginning.
I was gonna say, how random.
It's a costume piece inspired shirt, which I love. Those kinds of show shirts here. We have a skull and crossbone of eggs and bacon, which I love for so many reasons. But I feel like right now in quarantine, this is very much a mood. You know, it's like breakfast food, real dead inside, quarantine mood. And then you have the traditional logo right here on the sleeve, which I think is always a nice option. Usually when shirts have a weird, like a fun graphic tee, the show logo is on the neck, but I do appreciate it when it's on the shirt sleeve. It's just a little fun. So while I love this shirt, I love the novelty factor of it. And I loved the show. School of Rock was so fun. But
really fun.
Joseph is one of my bucket list shows. And also, this shirt is just too good to pass up. So the clear winner this week is my Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat shirt.
Are you going to wear it when you see it?
When I see it, I'm going to be in it.
I was going to say, Elliot, do you want to be Joseph, or do you have another brother that you're coveting?
I want to be any brother. Any brother. I'm not really a Joseph, but I want to be any of the brothers. It is my dream show. I know there's a revival coming in the next couple years, and
are you like a great Naphtali? What is it?
I was Naphtali when I did it.
We'll have to see. I don't want to put myself in a box. You know what I mean? I want creatives to, like, put me where they see me, but I'm putting it out there now. I want to be in that revival. All
right. Well, we're putting it into the universe. Elliot Maddox.
Out there. Thank you. All right. We are moving to our game. Caleb, what do you have for us today?
Okay. So Mike says he doesn't know Broadway, but I think he does more than we think we give him credit. And Ruthie knows Broadway. So I've texted Mike some shows, and he's going to explain them to Ruthie, the plot, without using the title, and Ruthie's going to guess what the show is.
Okay.
I love this.
Okay, and I'm doing 3 at a time. So Mike, take it away with the first one.
I've heard of this show, but I don't know what it's about.
So make something up.
It's about a place that is...
Brigadoon?
That's not... it's on the lower half of the world. That's about all I got. I'm not very good at this game.
Is it Evita?
No, it's the name's kind of named in the title. The place is named
in the title.
And it's
tropical.
Tropical.
Once on this island?
Half of it's one of the oceans.
Oh.
Half of it's one of the oceans?
Yeah, it's like a direction in an ocean.
So name the oceans.
I mean,
there's 2 that
South
really
Pacific.
Yeah, there we go.
Yay!
I've never heard of this next one. Nor even really know how to try to describe it.
Well, describe the words, and like I feel like this is like $25,000 pyramid. You have to
words
just, like,
are so generic, though.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right. So if it's
me and my girl,
here we go. Here's how we're gonna do this. There used to be an MTV dating show for the first word. Am I right?
Singled out.
No, it's a 1-word show. They're on a bus.
1-word show.
Together.
Oh, next.
Yep. And then it's the opposite of
This is great.
Next to Normal.
Yeah, there we go. What's
Yay!
it about? What am I describing? I'm assuming not a bus full of people that have like.
No, Next to Normal is a brilliant Pulitzer Prize-winning musical by Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkey, directed by Michael Greif, that was robbed for a lot of Tony Awards in the same year as Billy Elliot. About
It's about family.
It's about a family. It centers around a mother who struggles with bipolar disorder.
In a nutshell, that's in a nutshell.
Yeah, and it was actually like, I mean, it still is actually, because I saw the Kennedy Center production this past winter, you guys, that was incredible with Rachel Bay Jones and Brandon Victor Dixon.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was so, and like a lot of people were like, they got to do it in DC because it's too soon for a revival. It is not too soon for a revival. The way that they did it and the way that the mental health conversation is right now, plus the way that they, cast it with like,
also that was
their kids are biracial. Also, it was 12 years ago, but like with the kids, being biracial because they're a biracial couple, like that changes a lot of stuff. And I mean, the first line in the show was different.
Yeah.
This would be one where I'd be like Next to Normal and walk in and not have guessed that.
Yeah.
It's
incredible. And like, I think fully responsible for like bringing mental health into the mainstream of musical theater.
Work.
All right, next one.
Okay.
Next.
I know this one. I think it was made into a movie, right? Am I right in that?
Yeah.
Okay. It was made into a movie. Is it Matthew Broderick?
Oh,
Yes.
The producers?
No, so not that one. It's more Wall Street-ish.
How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Another
Yes, nailed it. Okay,
winner.
Mike.
Oh,
I've sent
okay.
you 3 more. Did you get that?
Okay, yeah, I know these. At least I know I know what the first two are about. Okay, I just talked about this when Mel B was in it, and it's a city very close to
Chicago.
Ding ding.
We're staying kind of on theme. Actually, I saw this revival recently. It was in the
Loved it.
Air, I think. It was a very artistic rendering of it.
Oh, was it Once on this Island?
No, it was after. It was actually
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Love that
the last time, I don't know, but I've heard the music's supposed to be incredible in this. It's
The Bridges of Madison County.
It's a one-word title.
No, I wish.
Oh.
The
music's incredible, and it's a one-word title. That's really
Turn of the century.
I was gonna say Ragtime.
Yeah, there you go.
Ding, ding.
Hey, okay.
Yes, last 3. Here we are, last 3.
Wait. I need to say something about Ragtime.
Okay.
Because if there are Ragtime fans out there, but also even if you're not, I had Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty do a track-by-track breakdown of Ragtime for Playbill, and it is epic. Like it is.
Sure.
I got to the end of reading it as an editor and was crying. It is so brilliant what they do with that show. That show is gorgeous, and like also like 41 songs.
Yeah. I can't wait for their breakdown of Seussical.
So, don't worry, we're getting them on. We're getting them on a whole bunch of breakdowns. All right, next three.
Okay.
Ready.
I think I saw this long time ago when I was very young. So it's not Hello. Would be what's the opposite? Yeah. And then I golfed this morning, and I really wanted to hit. It's a aviation.
Bye Birdie.
Yeah. Right. I don't remember what it's about, but I do remember seeing it.
It's so good. That one was one I always wanted to be, and I wanted to be Kim McAfee. So
you would be a great Kim McAfee.
Thanks, Caleb.
Okay.
I love that.
Next one.
This one is doable. I don't even know if it's actually about this, but I would assume Al with Break a Bat would cover this musical. Because,
Damn Yankees.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Al with Break a Bat podcast, which is found on the Broadway Podcast Network.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, and last one.
I never heard of this one. We talked about the book. Was Elliot, you wanted to read the breakdown of the book, but this is the female version of it.
Were you listening? Clue? Yeah, that's a good clue. It's a deep cut.
You wanted to read the book.
It's Marvel, but not really. That was the book you wanted to read.
What? Was I not paying attention?
No.
When they did this play, didn't someone crash on the floor?
So I
During
said
all the
when you were talking about the making of books, I brought up something.
Oh. What did you bring? Oh, Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark.
Okay, so now
and it's the girl version. It's Kiss of the Spider-Woman.
There we go.
Yay!
Never heard of that one either.
Great job.
I really love how we arrived at all of them. Kiss of the Spider-Woman is another Terrence McNally musical and starred Cheetah Rivera. But Mike, I actually think you would really love Bye Bye Birdie, so you should look for the streamable version of with Dick Van Dyke.
Okay. I think I'd like a lot of them.
And Margaret.
It's just
but that one in particular, I feel like, I grew up on the Jason Alexander, Vanessa Williams version, which is also excellent because, time daily, but there's nothing like Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah,
why not? We're in quarantine. You have time.
Just like Anne Margaret, just
I
like
watched
dancing
Donny
by
Osmond
herself.
Joseph the other day when it was on the 48 hours.
Oh, that was a funny one, yeah.
Which when is Cats coming? It's got to be one of his, right?
I spent the first week of our Playbill coverage writing all of the lists of everything to stream, like the 47 classic movie musicals, the 26 modern movie musicals, the 15 things you can watch from your couch, the 26 more captures, because not just movies, but the actual captures of stage productions, the musical theater themed television shows. It's all there on Playbill. Please read my life's work.
I do want to know if there's one that I can find. So Adam from Call Me Adam, and I was talking, and he talked about Tommy, and I didn't know much about that, but I love The Who, and so I'm interested. Is there a streaming version besides the movie from the 70s or whatever?
I don't think there's a streaming version of the. There's no recording of that musical. No.
Not officially. Okay. There's probably somewhere you can find it.
Deep onto the internet.
I do. My life's work does not include bootlegs.
Yeah. And with that, we are done for this week's happy hour. Thank you all so much. I know I could sit and chat for hours and hours, but I have lots to do. We're in quarantine, so I have to go. Go to another room of my house.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Mike, where can people find you and your podcast?
Yeah, at The Wrong Cat Died on Instagram, or on the Broadway Podcast Network. So I think the direct link is thewrongcatdied.com. But you can listen wherever you find podcasts. And Peter should be coming soon. And I had a lot of fun. I made everything up for this episode because there is no written word on Peter in the internet anywhere. So I had a lot of fun drafting it.
I love it. Okay. Well, we look forward to it. And Ruthie, what about you?
So you can find me at Ruthie Fierberg on Instagram, which is, over here. At Ruthie's A Train on Twitter, but also, so my podcast will be coming within the next few weeks on the Broadway Podcast Network called Why We Theater. And if you want regular updates, I also do a monthly newsletter. You can go to RuthieFierberg.com and subscribe. It's FIERBERG, so take out the fears. But RuthieFierberg.com, and I do all sorts of recommendations and highlights of what I'm writing for Playbill, and just kind of thoughts for the moment, of which I have many. So yeah. So, but thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you, Elliot and Caleb, for asking me to do this. This is so fun.
It's our pleasure, and you can check out Playbill for Ruthie curating all of your quarantine entertainment.
Curating all the quarantine entertainment.
Shout out to Brittany, who is helping produce us today. Pop in and say hi.
Hi.
Yes, thank you.
Who hosts the Broadway and is amazing. Thank you so much for your help today. You can find our podcast at Equity One Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Equity One _ on Twitter.
Just send us an email at equityonePodcast@gmail.com and give us a rate and review anywhere you listen to your music. Your podcasts.
Yes. You can find me at Elliot Maddox. Caleb?
Anywhere on Caleb Dickey.
And until next time,
cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.